Because they have their own motor.
So if we made a law, we might have to alter it for the electric ones because say combustion. Okay.
The EPA not get involved in this? It's interesting.
Electric motor, it's not going anywhere. The electric part of the dashboard is going into Microsoft Surge. If you I got a new computer at work and it sucks, and then I get this new computer. How do I make this box bigger? This box not.
Yeah, but we learned our lesson this week
Yeah.
at the Starbucks situation.
Yeah.
It's no longer there, right?
Yeah.
Plus I missed
Oh, is it still there? Because I called.
725, you could have your meeting.
I can't remember the name of the company.
But you had a
So I ended up calling it tonight too.
Yeah, I bet. I didn't even see Get Up. Thumbs up across the...
But when I called, they ended up having.
Well, here goes nothing. Good evening. Welcome to the August 16th, 2023 Kent City Council meeting. All drafts that are being voted on tonight for adoption have been voted on in previous meetings with the input from public, city administration, and council. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. Would the clerk please read the roll?
Mr. Amrine?
Here.
Mr. De Leon?
Here.
Mr. Ferrara? Oh, Mr. Kuhar?
Here.
Ms. Rosenberg? Here. Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Here.
Mr. Sidoti?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
And Ms. Wallach?
Here.
Mr. Ferrer had called and needed a excuse
Move
for
to
tonight.
excuse.
Second.
Second by who?
No, go ahead.
Oh, Gwen.
Who's going to?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Ferrer had opening remarks. He is not here tonight. I did look something up. On this date in 1777, American forces won the battle at Binghamton in what was considered the turning point of the Revolution War. And on the other side, in August 16th, 1977, Elvis Presley passed away. So there's the highlights of the day. Will we stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance if you can? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion for approval of the July 19th and August 2nd minutes.
So moved. Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Under communications, we'll get into public communications. Before I have Amy call anybody, while the law does not require council to provide time for public communications, we have historically invited the public to make their comments, and we appreciate their input. This is the time when residents and others can make comment on matters that concern them. However, we will not engage in any debate, and as President of Council, I reserve the right to end any public comments that are disruptive, embarrassment, harassment, or otherwise objectionable. We ask that you come to the podium and speak into the microphone, clearly give your name and address, and we will give you 3 minutes. And the other point is our agenda has been set for weeks, so there will be no other discussion except what's on the agenda prior to communication. Amy.
Okay. First person, Kendra Morrison.
Name and address.
Kendra Morrison, 5185 Sunnybrook Road.
Will you speak in the mic, please? Roger, can you lower that for her?
Yeah, right there.
Is this good? Is that better?
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Kendra Morrison, 5185 Sunnybrook Road. Shame on Land O'Lakes for putting us in this position. None of us want to be here this evening, but several of us are here at council, again, begging for your help with while the leadership of that company laughs at us. They say they're not making the noise that we hear. They know we can hide behind you, this city, instead of talking with us directly about it or allowing us to be in any meetings with you and them discussing this issue. They have now made the city a secondary target in this ordeal. We understand that our needs are going to require more work on your behalf, but by them not being truthful and denying that the noise is theirs, it's making this harder on the city, not easier. But we have to live with this noise, and it's been significantly impacting our quality of life for too long. Now we are begging that the noise ordinance be enforced as it is currently written, with no frequency or decibels outlined. It's like Councilwoman Rosenberg said on June 7th, noise is noise is noise, and Land O'Lakes has been tormenting us with this new noise for over a year now. Land O'Lakes leadership and everyone else in this neighborhood knows that the noise from Land O'Lakes is coming from the towers, on the roof, at the back of the factory. When those machines are on, we hear the noise. When the machines are off, the noise is gone. This was proven by Robin Turner and a Kent police officer on the night of April 18th. In addition, our neighborhood was dead silent the entire week of June 5th and part of the following week when Land O'Lakes had the plant shut down. They had cranes there replacing a couple of the giant white cylinders in front of the building. When the cranes left, the noise came back. Land O'Lakes reported $19 billion in sales and $248 million in earnings for 2022. And they are going to make a small town like Kent, Ohio, potentially spend our tax dollars or find grant money to remedy a problem that they are causing and that can easily be fixed with rooftop sound barriers or other abatement. This is disgusting. We may not have billions in sales or millions in earnings, but we still pay property taxes to the city, significantly more than Land O'Lakes does as a neighborhood. The Shaw Drive neighbors paid an average of $4,055 per condo. Times 64 units, that's roughly $260,000. Plus there's the Sunnybrook Road addresses totaling $15,000. That's an estimated $275,000 paid in 2022 just in property taxes alone. Land O'Lakes paid $73,000 last year. That's just public record. You can find it on the auditor's website. Us taxpayers that actually live in this city, contribute to the city's economy, and vote in this city are continuing to be abused because this noise is allowed to go on. Please continue to work with us to come to a resolution. We ask that you listen to the noise, come and apply the noise ordinance with the result that Land O'Lakes is abating the humming noise coming from the evaporators at the back of their facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Further?
Jerry Enos.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Name and address.
Good evening. Jerry Ennis, 238 Shaw Drive. The information I'm going to discuss is related largely to a memo written by Kent's Economic Development Director following a briefing by the sound consultant who conducted a Land O'Lakes funded and approved noise study. The memo documents several flaws in the Land O'Lakes funded effort, which cause it to fail to answer the fundamental question: what is the source of the noise that is bombarding residents on Shaw Drive? Perhaps the most significant flaw was that the study used only 4 microphones, which collected information in the aggregate. That means they recorded noise coming from all directions and all sources, such as traffic on Highway 261, the nearby railroad, and other industrial facilities in the area. So the study could not establish how much noise was coming from Land O'Lakes as opposed to other sources in the area. Surely a fatal flaw in their plan. However, the contractor did note that the rooftop evaporators were likely sources of sound from the plant. But due to the non-directional nature of the approved sound collection scheme, the amount of noise coming from those evaporators was unknown. In the end, Land O'Lakes stated, at the end of the briefing, stated their position was that based on the Land O'Lakes approved and funded, and I contend a seriously flawed study, they did not intend to change anything. There are other methods of determining the direction from which sound is coming. The human ear makes a pretty good example. Residents, members of the press, and others have done that in my presence, and I've done it myself. And in each case, the source of the sound was Land O'Lakes. Additionally, one night, a Kent police officer, accompanied by a member of this council, drove to the end of Shaw Drive and listened. After establishing that the sound was coming from the direction of the Land O'Lakes plant, they drove to the plant and onto the plant grounds. Again, after establishing the direction from which the sound was coming, the officer turned a spotlight in the direction of the noise. That light illuminated the rooftop evaporators. Land O'Lakes representative closed the briefing that was given by stating, quote, "They continue to desire to be a good neighbor," end quote. We hope that too, but at this point I think we're waiting for it. Based on available information, I believe that if any employee at that plant was asked, what is making that loud, constant humming noise, their immediate answer would be, the evaporators on the roof, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Further?
Diane Hadaway.
Name and address for the record.
Diane Hadaway, 225 Shaw Drive. Good evening. During the Land O'Lakes shutdown in June, we had the peace and quiet we used to enjoy in our neighborhood. This is very incriminating evidence against Land O'Lakes. Please stop treating this problem as some new mysterious frontier of low-frequency noise. To quote Gwen again, noise is noise is noise. This noise is loud and present only when Land O'Lakes is operating, specifically when their oscillating evaporator fans are on. It is important to note that the Kent Noise Ordinance does not specify decibel limits or frequency types. It does, however, specify that noise is unlawful if 1, the sound is audible during overnight hours past the property line on which the source of the sound is located, and 2, if the noise disturbs, annoys, or endangers the comfort, health, peace, or safety of persons within the city. Each of these violations is occurring. This invasive noise is disturbing and present only when Land O'Lakes is operating. Land O'Lakes refused to include any of our residents in their meetings with city officials, and they declined invitations to the 2 meetings we had in our neighborhood. A good neighbor would want to listen to what we are experiencing and work with us to reach a resolution. A good neighbor would not create suspicion and mistrust through exclusion. A good neighbor would listen to our experiences and participate in a rational discussion on how to isolate and correct the problem. It has been said that the first step in solving any problem is recognizing that there is one. Land O'Lakes and some city officials do not seem to believe there is a real problem. We cannot rely on incomplete and inconclusive results from one company when the health of residents is at stake. Please vote to take this issue to committee. Meet with us. We have compelling sound data, audio recordings, and photo evidence to present to council. We challenge Land O'Lakes and city administration to apply a common sense approach. Please come to our neighborhood, both during the day and night. Experience the noise from outside and inside our homes when Land O'Lakes is operating, and hear the quiet when Land O'Lakes is shut down. Let us prove to you that Land O'Lakes is the source of the noise, they are violating the noise ordinance, and abatement is required. A path to resolution must be a priority. Because this is a health issue, we will not back down. Every time a property sells, new people are impacted. These homes are selling for over $300,000. Please do not let Land O'Lakes continue to violate the noise ordinance and ruin the tranquility of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Further?
Andrew Lenz.
Name and address. Thank you.
Andrew Lentz, 181 Majors Lane. I come to this council as an outside observer and have been following closely the issue that is noise pollution coming from Land O'Lakes. I have friends that are very dear to me and for the past year have been plagued nightly due to this noise pollution coming from this factory. I know multiple people on this council and Kent officers have heard this noise coming from Land O'Lakes. I've also been to and have watched council meetings with regards to this noise pollution issue. I've seen some council members laugh when the issue of low frequency was brought up for discussion during previous meetings. This community has banded together, gathered petitions, done their research, and organized multiple town hall meetings. It's unfortunate to see some of council laughing at their plight and dismiss a discussion that would clearly benefit this community and potentially other residents in Kent. I've watched this council quickly, without hesitation, and without laughter, amend Section 109.12, changing the hours of the noise ordinance and in turn affecting and making an example out of small local businesses in the Dora portion of downtown. This council did this rapid amendment without asking for those who complained about the downtown noise for audio recordings, third-party sound analysis, a petition with signatures from the surrounding neighbors, town hall meetings, and participating on an online noise complaint website. But these are the things that this neighborhood here tonight has had to do for something that is more serious than live music. This community has been waiting for the city of Kent to come to their aid. They've done everything by the book and everything that this council has advised them to do. And yet it seems the city administration and some of the members of council still find low frequency noise baffling. It's openly discussed in these meetings like it is some form of magic. I assure you, it's not that complicated. After members of council met with representatives of Land O'Lakes to discuss the results of a sound study conducted by an unnamed third-party organization, mind you, that Land O'Lakes chose, Mr. Ruler stated, the city's law director does not believe there's enough objective documentation of the severity of the problem that can be directly linked to Land O'Lakes to trigger city enforcement action. Council, please look around. This meeting is packed with fed up, tired, and angry community members. Is this not enough objective documentation of the severity of the problem for something to be done? Please help this community by holding Land O'Lakes accountable to the noise ordinance. Thank you.
Further?
Del Tequili.
Name and address for the record, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
My name is Del T. Kelly, 232 Shaw Drive. I live in a neighborhood of 64 condos, approximately 110 residents, many neighboring Sunnybrook residents who are all experiencing chronic noise exposure, 61 of whom signed a petition to ask Land O'Lakes to abate the noise. In January, Health Commissioner Joan Siddell allowed us to use the city's complaint tracker on their website so that residents could document the noise from the Land O'Lakes plant day or night. Unfortunately, many of our neighbors didn't understand how to work the website. Late on the afternoon of Mother's Day, Land O'Lakes sound consultants placed 3 sensors in our community. We received an email stating that they were coming, and it also included Commissioner Seidel's chart that tracked the complaints. Of course, we felt that they would use that chart. No, they didn't. The sensors were placed in areas that were either in the acoustical sound shadow or near homes that no one complained about. An acoustical sound shadow is the area blocked by a building, a wall, or land, like a hill. The sensor on the cul-de-sac at the end of the street was in direct line of an acoustical sound shadow of the last condo building on the street. Councilman Sidoti, thank you, visited our neighborhood many times. He said here in council chamber, you move 20 feet in either direction and it's loud or not. Council Sidoti is a musician and understands sound, and he truly understands this situation. I had to print big, so it's a lot of pages. The second sensor was placed between the clubhouse and 2 other condos. Neither of those residents complained about the sound. On the other hand, the neighbor directly across the street sent an email to the Commissioner Siddell, stating that she had gone to the website 20 times at least, and it was not recorded on the list. The third sensor was placed near the nursing home, where the manager said they do not hear the plant. We believe their tests were invalid because of the placement of the sensors. The 2 weeks in June that it was shut down, our neighborhood was quiet and beautiful again. We hoped that Land O'Lakes was installing sound barriers. They were not. Recently, NPR in Kent presented a show on 1A called How Chronic Noise Exposure Affects the Human Body. The 3 experts were Dr. Jamie Banks, MD and PhD and President of Quiet Communities, Dr. Peter James, Environmental Epidemiologist and Professor at Harvard Medical School, and Dr. Matthias Basner, Sleep Researcher and Professor at University of Pennsylvania Medical School. They discussed how chronic noise exposure can result in hypertension, depression, cardiovascular problems, sleep deprivation, brain damage, dementia, how much fun is that, and increase in blood pressure, among other things. They also mentioned that the auditory system of our bodies reacts to these noises as we sleep and fragments our sleep. Dr. Banks stated that chronic noise exposure is noise pollution that is unwanted and harmful sounds. It's not subjective, it affects our health. Dr. Basner said it affects the bodies physiologically by damaging blood vessels and harms the brain's regenerative process. We want Land O'Lakes to be the good neighbor they so proudly claim to be on their website. Sound abatement material must be installed as soon as possible, and we ask the city to influence them to do so. Thank you. And thank you, Robin, for always being there for us.
Thank you. Further?
Matt Morrison.
Matt Morrison, 5185 Sunnybrook Road. So we were told in one of our town halls that the noise ordinance does not apply to Land O'Lakes, and we've been asking why ever since. A public records request was made to show the origins of them being exempt, but it was concluded that they were not. Mr. Roller made a comment around this, stating that the city law director cautions that she does not believe that the low-frequency noise is effectively enforceable under the conventional city noise ordinance, nor is it traceable in a way that a judge would require the city to meet the burden of proof in court. Frustration around this is that the noise ordinance in Kent, it doesn't even speak to frequencies, so the term low frequency is pretty much irrelevant. It's not even mentioned in the Ohio Revised Code. That term is being used as an out or a smoke screen to try to make the situation that we're dealing with sound like it's an unsolvable anomaly. Gwen, I'm sorry, but it seems that the theme is noise is noise is noise. And regardless of where the noise lies on a frequency scale, low, medium, or high, and regardless if it's coming from a guitar amplifier downtown or an industrial HVAC unit on top of a Fortune 500 company's factory, the noise that's coming from Land O'Lakes is 100% traceable to the 2 gray towers with the yellow safety railings and the 8 massive fans on the roof at the back of the building. This has already been verified. We heard from Robin and Turner and a police officer, and anyone in this neighborhood could take any one of you, or a judge of your choice for that matter, over to Land O'Lakes, and we can literally point at the machine that's making the noise for you. The city's lack of experience or knowledge on how to measure sound should not mean that the entity that's making the noise should get a pass. The noise has been complained about in our neighborhood and has been making an annoyance and continuously disrupts the repose of a significant number of people for over a year. Land O'Lakes is not above the law, and we're demanding that the law be applied in this situation. And as for that study, they report that they had 4 microphones used to capture the noise, and none of them, even the one supposedly that was yards away from the machinery, captured consistent readings of 50 decibels at night and 60 readings during the day. Well, for the last 2 weeks, I've been taking readings at my place 1,700 feet away with an app and a professional decibel reader, and I'm getting noises that are over 60, and the frequency analyzer shows the tones that are specifically being captured when the machines are running, and then I have recordings when they're not running. I'd gladly share this with anybody at this table tonight if I'm given further opportunity to have an actual focused in-person dialogue with the city administration. Land O'Lakes states they have not changed the type of machinery they use since 1982. That's another untruthful example for that company. If you look at the aerial views of their property on the Auditor's website, the imagery from 1985 to 2011 is pretty much the same. And then in 2016 on, it shows significantly new amounts of machinery being added. That needs to be considered. This noise has not been going on for 41 years. It's new, regardless of what Land O'Lakes tells you. We need your continued help to make this noise go away. And as long as the administration allows Land O'Lakes to continue making the noise, we're going to have to hear it and fight it for the inevitable future. If Land O'Lakes can't make this noise stop, then the city should be fining them $1,000 a day until they install some type of abatement to help us. Imagine what the city can do with an extra $1,000 a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Schaefer.
Evening. Robert Schaefer, 278 Shaw Drive. My wife and I have been citizens here all our lives. We were driving through, I didn't have a written up thing, so please excuse me if I stumble through this. We were driving through the crossings down there and thought this was for us. So as the development was being finished, we worked with the salesperson to secure the prime spot that we liked, which is all the way at the end of the street in the back. The home would be surrounded by the forest, and we waited 2.5 years to actually get into the condo, into our home. We have minor noise irritations. Our air conditioners are right outside our patio. Wheeling Lake Erie train is right down from our patio. I could hit it with a stone in my younger years. We got sounds from Kent Railroad. We hear 261. We hear jet bikes, Harleys, hot rods, dump trucks, tractor trailer, Jake brakes, all different times. We hear the loading of gravel trains over at the gravel pit. We even hear things being emptied and dumped at the factory or the facility. And Kent State airplanes and an occasional jet coming into Akron, Canton. But these are all minor, couple-minute annoyances, and they can be loud, but they only last for a couple minutes. The sounds we're talking about is moaning 24/7. Now, since they're shut down, before that, it was typical for the sounds to gear down, sometimes stop on the weekend, different times, kick back up, and it varied. Since the shutdown, it seems like they may have put equipment on there now that runs 24/7, and it just never stops. As the crow flies, our home is as close to the facility as anyone's, and from our patio, you can just look and see where the moaning's coming from. It's right through the woods there, and it just never stops. And they were talking noise, noise, noise. It's not noise, noise, noise. It's noise all the time, and it's just not stopping. And we can hear through the windows of our veranda, sitting there watching television. And then on the patio, it's just it's nerve-wracking. So we appreciate a business being like that in our community and employing a lot of people and paying taxes. We just like them, excuse me, to address this situation. They need to address it and come up with a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Further, Amy?
Jer Sitko.
Yeah, I visited Bob and Carla. Jericho, 267 Shaw Drive. I visited Bob and Carla and sit there, and you hear this. Can you imagine hearing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? It was really bad on Sunday, and I'm in my house, in the bathroom, bedroom, and I can hear it coming through the wall. Sometimes I lay down on the bed, and it's vibrating my bed. So it's very annoying. We want the city to give us help to get them to do something about it. It can easily be fixed with sound abatement. Nothing major. It's no mystery. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last person is Melissa Selko.
Good evening. Melissa Selko, 545 Pioneer. I'm before you on a different matter. This is a request for City Council to review Ordinance 351.13, which applies to a 24-hour limit to vehicle parking on city streets. This ordinance is currently only applied and enforced when a complaint is made and therefore is not applied evenly and consistently. Currently, several residents who've lived in the neighborhood for 40 or 50 years have had their cars ticketed and in one case towed. There are several things that we're concerned about. The ordinance is currently, here's some considerations that are relevant to the ordinance. Number one, there appears to be no signage in Kent that would alert either residents or visitors to the time limit of parking. Two, the 24-hour time limit does not allow for circumstances that are common in Kent in 2023, but weren't common in 1964 when it was when the ordinance was actually passed. First is the lack of sufficient driveway parking for many homes in Kent. Also, there are many more than one car per household, which was common in 1964 and is definitely not common today. Also, more people are working from home, which is great for Kent to have more employees working from home. That's more revenue for the city. Also, visitors come to Kent to enjoy themselves in our downtown bars. And instead of driving home while intoxicated, many of them are using ride shares, and 24 hours is often not enough for them to retrieve their vehicle. Please consider the revision of this time limit to accommodate the common issues here in 2023 in Kent. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, thank you, everybody, for coming. Written communications, Amy?
The Kent Board of Health Agenda and Statistical Report for August 8th. Meeting was received August 3rd. The agenda for August 10th Parks and Recreation Board meeting was received on August 4th, 2023. The Standing Rock Cemetery Board of Trustees meeting agenda for August 10th was received on August 4th, 2023. And then additional communication, the audit release notification from the Ohio Auditor of State, Keith Faber, was received on August 7th, 2023. The Planning Commission agenda for August 15th was received on August 10th, 2023. Board of Zoning Appeals agenda and staff report for August 21st was received on August 14th. An email urging council to inform residents about the federal home electrification incentives made available through the Inflation Reduction Act was received on August 15th, 2023 from Kent resident Kayla Adolph of Dale Drive. An email from Diane Hadaway was received and forwarded to council on August 16th regarding the noise heard in her neighborhood on Shaw Drive. An email from Alyssa Trevigno was received on August 16th, 2023, notifying council of her resignation from the Planning Commission due to her temporarily relocating to another state.
That's it?
Yes.
Second. Any discussion? What are we approving, John?
Yeah,
Alyssa's resignation.
well, the communication.
Do it under council comments.
Okay.
All right,
That's it.
thank you. City manager report, is there any verbal?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Standing committee reports, committee of the whole. I need a motion for August the 2nd meeting and action.
Separate those, please.
I think Tracy made it. Who seconded it?
Separate those.
Oh, separated.
Oh, separated.
Well, somebody make a motion first.
I move. Second.
Second by Mike.
What?
For the minutes.
Minutes.
For the minutes. We'll separate the action. Is that what you want, Tracy?
Yes.
All right. All in favor of the minutes, please signify by saying aye if there's no
Aye.
question. Opposed, same side.
Abstain.
One abstention,
2.
two abstentions. There's only one action. That's what you want to separate it?
I wanted the minutes separated.
I'll move the action.
Second.
Recommended.
You look concerned, Heidi.
I'm a little concerned. I thought we voted something down last time to not review and to approve, so this has come back as a review and report back to council. Is that correct?
Authorize staff to further review.
That's what it says.
It went back, it's my understanding, it went back to the community development, and they're going to come back to it.
Because we voted no on accepting it
Correct.
right away,
We're talking about the
and
warrants
so
and
therefore,
ceremonies.
yeah,
Yes, the warrants are scheduled for next month, committee,
they're scheduled for committee next month?
yeah.
Okay.
Right, Bridget?
I think that's
Yeah.
what the action
Okay.
Working on now, the
I-
goal is next month.
Right. But that was kind of implicit in the no vote, that we would continue it. I'm just wanting to make sure that that's what we're doing,
Yeah,
is continue.
The action only is authorizing staff to further review it.
Yeah.
Pretty cut and dry.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, we're voting on the action. Somebody want to make the motion?
We already did, didn't we?
It's moved in second already.
Yeah.
All right. No more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's set for Committee of Home Health and Safety, Mr. Amorine.
I'd like to move the minutes from the August 2nd committee meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Two abstentions.
And I'd like to move the 3 actions recommended.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on the actions?
Yeah.
Mr. Kuhar.
Just reading over this ordinance, and I question that, and this would be the law director would have to answer this. In there I see where it's prohibiting the sale to another party of a business that sells tobacco products. Am I correct in the way I'm interpreting that?
It's not in front of me right now.
Pardon me?
It's not in front of me right now. I don't know which section you're speaking to. Jaleese is here.
I guess my concern is, can you actually enforce a person selling their business to another business and continue in that business? I mean, the rest of it is fine. I had questions on the validity of that and if it would hold up.
It's not based on population. Yes, I see what you're saying. We can't prevent them from selling it, but the new business would probably, once they go to the health department's going to say, we're at our limit, you're not getting a permit.
But if they had a permit that was authorized and they were within the limit when they got the permit, how can you?
I don't think that our permits are transferable. I don't think they're like liquor permits or anything like that.
Not transferable.
Somebody's saying something out in the audience.
Sorry, it was me. They're not transferable. That's Jaleese.
From Health.
Gotcha. All right, John?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, the motion was to accept the actions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have a couple drafts. With the clerk read draft number 2023-049 in title only.
Draft 2023-049, an ordinance adopting Chapter 772 of the Kent Codified Ordinances to establish tobacco retailer density and proximity provisions and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Amorine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wellick?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amorine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-049 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-50 in title only?
Draft 2023-050, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to approve and execute an amendment to the memorandum of understanding between the City of Kent, Ohio, and the Kent City Board of Education regarding the School Resource Officer Program, extending this agreement until May 23, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
And Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-050 is passed.
Okay, that's it for health and safety. Land use, Mr. Freer's absent, so, Ms. Schaefer Bish, it's up to you.
All right, I would like to move the approval of the minutes, the committee meeting minutes on August 2nd, 2023.
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
2 abstentions.
And I would like to move the action recommended.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we have one ordinance there. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-051 in title only?
Draft 2023-051, an ordinance authorizing amendments to the City of Kent's zoning code in order to incorporate clarifying language in certain existing sections and to add new regulations and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension. Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-051 passes.
Okay, that's it for land use. Moving into sidewalks, streets and sidewalks, Mr. Sidoti.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the August 2nd, 2023 committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
2 abstentions.
And I'd like to move the 3 actions that are recommended.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Any discussion on the actions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's passed. We have a draft number 2023-052 in title only.
Draft 2023-052, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to approve a new special event application from Joe Robinson to be held on Thursday, August 24th, 2023, and the temporary closure of North Water Street between East Main Street and Columbus Street and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach? Yes. Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
And Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-052 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-53 in title only?
Draft 2023-053, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute an agreement between the City of Kent and Portage County for the Stowe/Summit Street Bridge and Pedestrian Improvement Project Agreement and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes. Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-053 passes.
Okay, would the clerk read draft number 2023-54 in title only?
Draft 2023-054, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept and allocate an ODOT grant for the State Route 59 Alternative Transportation Improvement Project in the amount of $666,000, and to enter into a new local public agency agreement with ODOT for the administration of the grant, and also to enter into an agreement with PARTA and Franklin Township for the new project design work and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-054 passes.
Okay, thank you. That's it for streets and sidewalks. Moving into Finance Committee, Mr. De Leon.
Yeah, I'll move the August 2nd, 2023 committee meeting minutes.
Well, second.
Second, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
And 2 abstentions.
I'll move the 3 actions recommended.
Second.
Second by Jack. Any discussion on the actions? Seeing none, all in favor of the actions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We have a few drafts. Would the clerk read in title only 2023-55 in title only?
Draft 2023-055, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept and appropriate the extended tobacco use grant in the amount of $117,000 for the City of Kent Health Department and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2023-055 passes.
Okay, thank you. The clerk read draft number 2023-56 in title only.
Draft 2023-056, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept and appropriate a Project Dawn stipend in the amount of $2,000 for Drug Overdose Awareness Day declared by the state of Ohio on August 31st, 2023 for the City of Kent Health Department and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yep.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-056 passes.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-57 in title only?
Draft 2023-057, an ordinance authorizing the City of Kent to apply for a House Bill 45 ambulance transportation program for EMS/COVID premium pay through COVID state and local fiscal recovery funds distributed by the U.S. Treasury, and to accept the grant if awarded with corresponding appropriation of funds and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Please call, oh, Tracy, I'm sorry. Please call the roll for its suspension.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Adoption.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-057 passes.
Thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-58 in title only?
Draft 2023-058, an ordinance authorizing the certification of non-payment of water use charges, wastewater use charges, storm water utility charges, and recycling/solid waste collection charges to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of the certified amount on the real property tax list and duplicate against the property for the non-payment of said charges and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Tracy. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Move adopt.
Second.
Move adoption.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance?
No.
Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-058 passes.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2023-59 in title only?
Draft 2023-059, an ordinance authorizing the certification of delinquent health department violation citations to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of the certified amount on the real property tax list and duplicate against the property served by the health department violation citations and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Tracy. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Oh, go ahead. Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Mr. Kuhar?
Yeah, I have a question that needed clarification. When you say health department violation citations, would this exclude violations for, put up for non-licensing compliance?
I guess that's a hope question.
Not for health department.
Not on this ordinance.
For some reason, I hope I can't understand you.
I know I'm not supposed to speak while there's a motion while you're doing this, but they enforce through a different mechanism for the health department rental licensing program, so they are not reflected in that.
Okay, so
Got it, John?
I think so. So it's not, it does not include anything that was covered under the recent lawsuit.
No, 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 it doesn't.
All right. Is that it? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-059 passes.
Would the clerk read draft number 2023-60 in title only?
Draft 2023-060, an ordinance authorizing the certification of non-payment of bills for residents resulting from the 2022 annual concrete repair programs of unpaid concrete sidewalk repair accounts to the county auditor in order to allow for the placement of the certified amount on the real property tax list and duplicate against the property for the non-payment of sidewalk repairs and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Michael. Is there any discussion on adopting this? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
You like the Michael?
Mr.
Yeah.
Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-060 is passed.
Okay, thank you, Amy. That's it with the committees. We're going to move in. Is there any unfinished business? Heidi?
I'm going to call this unfinished business because it's obviously an unfinished matter. I was very moved by the residents' from the Sunnybrook area who came in to talk about their ongoing issue. I know that if I lived there, this would drive me insane. And I'm very moved that it's a health issue. And I'm also really concerned that we can't, as a city, just let these people hang out there and not help them further. And I really am not clear on what to do because we're not enforcement. That's more, that's out of our hands as a city council, I believe. However, I would implore the city staff to put their heads together to work further on what can we do to make this company comply. There's too many coincidences in my book that show that this must be coming from this company, and they must honor our laws. And people are suffering, and this concerns me greatly. And Tracy, I have to say that she brought this issue up before this incident occurred about low-frequency sound, and it is an issue. It is a problem. Just because we don't fully understand it and haven't wrapped ordinances around it at the state level or the local level doesn't mean it isn't a problem. So I for one, this is not a laughing matter. I would implore the city staff, and I don't know that I'm making I'm not making a motion right now. I'm just saying, as a human being, I really feel for this neighborhood of people who cannot get up and walk away. This is, in some ways, a toxic condition, similar to any kind of pollution that's happening in the environment. So we really need to be serious about working with this company to resolve this issue. Thank you.
Mr. Turner, I think, had his hand up before you did, John.
Yeah, I was waiting. I didn't know exactly where this would fall because I am going to make a motion if it's appropriate. I don't
This
know.
is the time.
Okay. I am going to make a motion to put it into committee to officialize our ability to at least go into discussion about what the city can or cannot do or should not actually move to do or not do. But I think that there was a fatal flaw in the process. The fatal flaw was when the people from that neighborhood were excluded from participating with the company. Now, I appreciate Land O'Lakes.
We should second it first, and then you can talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Whatever's
He seconded.
Second.
All right, Rod.
Keep going.
Robin, now you have discussion, we'll start all over. During my life.
I can appreciate the company and what they've done up to this point, but the reality is that, quite frankly, I believe they look for an off-ramp. And they indicated something that I didn't see in the meeting, and I was actually there. Maybe other people did. That was, they did not exclude the evaporators in that process. And I think that that's, if you narrow the focus, that's something, but I'm getting a little, what I would like to do is move it to committee. We can discuss all the particulars at that time. These people deserve that. They have been dealing with this now for close to a year or longer, and I know firsthand exactly what is transpiring with them. I would urge us to support moving, at least moving this into committee.
Are we in a motion or discussion?
He's made a motion.
We're in discussion.
It was discussed, yeah.
We're in discussion. Tracy, you second the motion.
Yeah.
Is there further discussion from you?
Yeah, there are a number of ways that the sound can be baffled, and they're very inexpensive ways also. So I don't know why Land O'Lakes just hasn't done that. So I agree to put it in committee to talk about stuff. I mean, and if you want me to come up with different techniques, I can research it and look into it.
Okay, John, you have comment?
Yeah, well, good discussion. Yeah, I was going to make a motion on the same item, and when this first came up to council, I drove down to that neighborhood. I pulled in driveways from one end to another. I had a bunch of people that said, nothing bothering them. I never really did run into the complainers, but I'm a little hard of hearing, and this was the middle of the day, and I could hear a distant hum. Now, I could imagine at night that distant hum could get pretty loud. I think starting off, along with what Robin said, that we should diplomatically, let Land O'Lakes know what conspired this evening and see if they diplomatically could put some type of soundproofing in and still have this in committee if they can't. So.
Michael?
Well, I know I heard time and time tonight about people that have all this evidence. That'd be the time for them to bring that, wouldn't it, at that meeting?
Well, if we're going to have a committee, we ought to have it all outlined.
Well, that's what I say, because that's, I've been down there, I've heard sometimes, I hear some things and some, but, like I said, they have all these recordings, and the guy's got I'd like to hear that. That's when it should be brought to us. Maybe we can all, hear it.
Maybe this is a step we should have done a long time ago.
Yes, maybe it is. Yeah.
Roger, did you have your hand up?
No, but I will make a comment. Go ahead, let Jack go first, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is a serious situation, and Heidi's absolutely right. We are not the enforcers, but we can work with the people. And, guys, our job as a council is to provide safe neighborhoods and quality life for residents, and we need to do that. So.
Is that it, Jack?
Yeah.
That's it.
Roger?
Well, I want to clarify one thing, and our audience has left, and that is, I'm not much of a musician, so I just want to make that clear. I mean, I kind of can do this, but that's about it. No, I think there are three pieces to this. There's the emotional, there's the obvious, the emotional, you saw it tonight. A lot of times, some of the factual stuff gets lost or gets expanded. When comments are made, and I really believe this to be true because I don't have any doubt that the people that I've talked to directly are misleading, that this started about 1.5 years ago, give or take, in the spring. The problem is then when people come here tonight, or if they'll come next time, and they say things like, it's always been this way, you stop and you say, well, wait a minute, has it been always this way, or did it start 1.5 years ago? So I'm not predisposed to put it in committee on one hand because the emotional gets in the way of the actual facts and the practical application of the information. And I would hope that knowing these people, I think that they'll understand that message. The legal piece is, I'm not so, I hear what they're saying, that they think that our ordinance can be used as I'm not so sure that's true. I still think that we need to impress upon Land O'Lakes that they have a responsibility and they can come down and listen if they'd like, and I'll take them through there. They don't even have to listen to the other people there. I'll walk them through and I can show them what the people are saying. But I think the practical part of it is that bringing it to the forefront. Tracy had it on our pending list 2 years ago, Tracy, I think. And so maybe it's time. Let's take it off the pending list. Let's get it into committee. And like I said, I wasn't predisposed to do that because I still think there are ways we can get to Land O'Lakes in a more practical reason, but maybe this is the way to go. So I'll support it.
When?
I feel great empathy for the people that are having to deal with the noise. I'm going to support the motion. I have, just because I'd like to hear from the city, particularly our law director, about the city's role, whether this is a civil matter, whether this is something that falls under a noise ordinance. I just have some questions there that I would like to hear about. I'm not necessarily
sure I support the idea of adjudicating a decision like that at the committee meeting. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that exactly fits in with our role, making a decision kind of with evidence at that particular time. But I absolutely am supportive of city staff reaching out to Land O'Lakes, giving our law director a chance to kind of let us know some steps that we can take and what would be most appropriate. So I'll go ahead and support it as well.
John?
Just as a footnote, you know, and I'm all for the committee thing, but I think for time frame, I think we should immediately address what went on, and maybe when we have that committee meeting, Land O'Lakes can come back as a hero because they're doing something about it.
Robin? Do you have more?
Yeah, well, kind of, I guess. But I think maybe that might be better held once we get into the committee, and then we can then further discuss it. So perhaps I think I'll hold it till that point.
Is that it, Robin?
Yes, thank you.
Roger?
Well, one last thing, I think that it would be appropriate to tell Land O'Lakes and invite Land O'Lakes to be here, not as a debater, not to debate the facts, not to, you know, to try to defend their position, but to listen also and invite them. And I'm sure that the people who are here that live there will agree that we extend out to them that it'll be a safe place for them to come, and that they would have an opportunity to hear firsthand what the evidence is that the people are bringing. They may not agree, they may not come, but maybe they'll watch it on YouTube, or maybe that'll, something like that happen. But I think that extending that out to show them that this is an opportunity to engage firsthand with the community, I think that would be a good thing. So I don't know who would do the inviting. Maybe Amy, you could.
We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. I just want to make a comment. You know, the administration and neighbors in Land O'Lakes have been working on it. Whether it's conclusive of what's going on, I don't know. But I think it's Robin finally brought it to committee, which should have happened a long time ago, so we could all share in the information. You all know I was a vested owner down there of 212, and really it never bothered me. But I understand from 212 on to the cul-de-sac, there is a problem down there. But and where it's coming for, I'm not an authority to say that's where it's coming from. So I think Robin, I think it's the first time we stepped ahead and we're putting this in committee, because the administration has been working on it. Land O'Lakes has done their thing, and Roger and Robin, you met with the people several times. So I think it's time we talk about it. Any more unfinished business? Huh?
Yeah, ready, put
We already voted.
Are we in the same meeting? All right. Well, sometimes, you know,
She's got her laptop back.
I'm old. Council comments, anything?
No, new business.
No, new business.
New business, I'm sorry. Tracy?
Yeah, I'm interested in the 24-hour parking on the streets, and if it really did go into effect in 1965, I would be interested to find out why that happened and review it, and so I'd like to put that discussion in committee, please.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Roger. Further discussion, Tracy?
Yeah, I've gotten dinged by that before when Dana was the compliance officer, and I don't know why. Why can't you park more than 24 hours on the street? I mean, if it says so, if there's a sign that says so, but otherwise there's no sign that says that at all. And what's the problem with parking 24 hours, more than 24 hours?
Roger, you have a comment?
Yeah, I think that there are certain places where 24-hour parking should be prohibited, but there are general other places in neighborhoods where it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And, maybe we should have that conversation.
Any more comment? Oh, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna vote for the motion, but you know, we have to understand that we don't want storage either, and that's why you have a 24-hour item. But there should be some workable solutions. Signage is a good one.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Turner?
Yeah, I'd go through and review that, but I know in my neighborhood, leaving a car, there are people who are going to take advantage of that, and you end up with unintended consequences, where you do pretty much have people then leaving vehicles for days, and there's no enforcement action taken. You don't know what's going on, and I've had them do that, and especially in the winter and other times during the day where that can become a problem. So I agree that's something we got to look into, but there was a rationale. By the way, I think I was 64, she said, but maybe 65. But I think that I'm glad she brought it up, but it has different implications in different places.
Yes.
So let's go through and see how it works.
Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I gotta say something. I live on the same street. I've gotten tickets. I've only been there 55 years. So I'm a new kid on the block. But I want to tell you something, and I'll bring this up in discussion, is we historically on that street, for some reason, the students would go home and leave their cars there.
Right.
Tires would go flat. Nobody come back and get them. And one case, and I called it in. Some foreign country, they bought their son a car. Didn't even have a driver's license. Semester was over. It was parked out in front of my house for 2 months. Flat tires. So I see some value, and I also see value that's a narrow street that you live on and I live on, and the snowplow has problems going up and down that street.
That's the other
So,
thing.
next.
Is that a point of order?
I'm allowed to talk after a motion. Read the rules. Any more new business? Council members' comments? Mr. Sidoti.
I think we should publicly recognize that we had a wonderful audit report, and that the city of Kent has demonstrated great professionalism, and the fact that the auditors found no findings whatsoever, I think speaks volumes. And having to deal with public monies in my past life, I can tell you that they are picky, and they look at every little thing. So I think congratulations to our administration and to our finance department, because that speaks volumes about the integrity of this place.
Heidi?
Yeah, I want to say that prior to the meeting, my husband and I were downtown to see the Clydesdale.
Singular.
Yes,
Singular.
I mean, yes, it was jaw-dropping when they came, when all of them were there pulling the wagon or whatever, but this one was really pretty special too, and there was a large crowd of people there enjoying getting their pictures taken with the horse. I have our picture taken with the horse, and I'm not sure whether it was just the Clydesdale that brought all those people downtown, but I kept telling myself, this is not a Friday or a Saturday night. This is a Wednesday night in Kent, and there was business everywhere.
Free beer.
No free beer. Actually, there were no Budweiser cans in sight, even though we allowed that to happen. But there were a lot of Dora cups going on, and there were a lot of people all over downtown. So I just want to say that it was just really heartening to see that we really didn't have to bribe people with the whole entire Clydesdale parade this time to get people to come downtown. I think a lot of them came down on their own just to enjoy a beautiful night in downtown Kent. So we've got something special going on here.
Anybody else? Mayor's comments, half of you took what I was going to say. But there's Dog's Days of Summer this coming Saturday, starts at 11 o'clock, 11 to 4. So if you have a four-legged fur ball, bring it down. There's a lot of activities for both the dog owners and the dogs, so feel free to come. We got a lot of activities still going on in Kent, and it brings the people downtown, and they have time to enjoy themselves and the activity. So with that, we have an executive session.
Yeah, I'd like to move an executive session dealing with conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject of pending or imminent court action.
Okay,
Second.
I'll give you Second.
Second.
Michael, call the roll?
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yeah.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner? Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Okay, we'll give it 5 minutes to move the people out.
In Dan Smith Park.
Hey, Melissa?